live, huh? Hello, YouTube. It's me, John Avenger, once again, and welcome to the Ant-Man and Wasp spoiler podcast. I'm doing this on my own because my good friend on YouTube wasn't available to do the podcast, so I guess I have to do it on my own. And as you can see, I got my posters back on the wall, baby. Most of them. Got my Avengers poster behind me, Avengers 3, Avengers 2. I even got an episode 3 poster. How badass is that? But this is not about Star Wars. This is about Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm going to give most of the spoilers in this video. If you have not seen this movie, go see it and then see the spoiler reaction. You can join me in the chat. Any of my friends out there, if you're out there and you're watching YouTube or you see that I'm going live, you can leave your comments in the description box or what have you. But let's get started. I'm not gonna say everything I said before. Just say a lot of mountain of spoilers. I'm not gonna do it in order either. I'm just gonna do it randomly. First off, the movie starts off where this left off. Captain America: Civil War. Basically, Scott Lang instead of going to prison, he got out of the German prison at the end of Civil War after that awesome airplane scene, the airport scene with him and the Avengers. That was freaking awesome. They mentioned the Avengers a lot. And he gets 2 years. He gets like 3 years of probation, and he gets like 2 years under house arrest. So he can't leave his home to go fight crime with Wasp until way later in the movie. And the film starts with a flashback of basically the first film. Everything you saw in the first film with Hank Pym and his wife, and her going going to her molecules getting rearranged and going to the microscopic quantum realm. Yeah, that'll play later in one of the post-credit scenes. And basically, there's something here that they stole from in episode 8. This movie came out around the same time, but you remember the link that the hobo had with Kylo Ren? Yeah, they do the same thing in this movie, but this movie did it better. Basically, Scott has a vision of Janet's mother, and he's psychically linked with her. Not psychically, but like she's inside of his head, and he becomes the mother later in the movie. In a metaphysical way, and they connect to each other. That's how he connects with Hope. And I mean Hope because Janet is the mother, and Hope is the young girl. But anyway, Scott spends a lot of time with his daughter in the house. They play in the tunnels, and they slide down the house, and they look for ants, and it's a lot of fun. It's very cute, emotional stuff. And basically, yeah, there's a lot of things. One twist that they put in this movie that I didn't care for was that, oh yeah, by the way, Lawrence Fishburne, he used to work with Hank Pym, and he's helping the villain to become normal. The Ghost, who is a shitty villain. I will say that now until the day I die. That villain can suck my dick. That's one of the worst villains I've seen in an MCU movie in a painfully long time. There's forgettable villains, and then there's villains like this that just can't act, and they're freaking zombies. But anyway, yeah, this is it. It says 2 years later, Pym and Hope briefly managed to open a tunnel to the quantum realm. Lang receives an apparent message from Janet, who is quantumly entangled with. By the way, that scene where Hank Pym is looking for his wife, and he shrinks, and he's in the ship, it looks amazing. The visuals look as good as Doctor Strange. It looks really, really visually stunning. There's like worms or whatever, or mites that are inside of the quantum realm. It looks really good. Hey Tevya, what's up? Yeah, I'm doing the spoiler podcast, so because I can't wait any longer. I want to do this so that at least there's one podcast of this movie on the Nerd Pack, even if it's by myself. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, Hope arranges to buy a part needed for the tunnel. That's the scene where she's talking to Walton Goggins. I forgot to mention him in my spoiler-free review. He's a Southerner. I swear, this guy's trying to sound like Billy Bob Thornton. Gotcha. Good idea. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's all right, Tevya. I'm doing this because, somebody in the Nerd Pack has to post something from Ant-Man and Wasp. Because Deadpool 2, we did not do a podcast for that, and I want to make up for lost time. But anyway, yeah, that's the scene where you first see her as the Wasp, where she's trying to negotiate with Walton Goggins. He's like, I'm a reasonable man, baby. And then I'm like, yeah, it's not a bad actor. It's just his Southern accent kind of takes me out of it a little bit. Just a little. He's not as horrible as Hannah Kamen. He's fine. He's kind of a character that wasn't necessary. He's just there to stir the pot. You are the man, and I cannot wait for Captain Marvel and Avengers 4. Are you? Hell yeah. Captain Marvel disconnects to it really well. She's gonna save the Avengers in the next movie. I'm gonna say that right now, right here in front of everybody. Captain Marvel's gonna kick ass in the next movie, and she's gonna steal the show. Yeah, we kind of missed that opportunity. Oops. Hopefully, we can do a spoiler cast for this movie this coming weekend. Yeah, but I'm going to start with some things that I want to get off my chest. The rest of it will get the other guys' views and opinions on the movie. Overall, I love this movie because it's a sequel that easily could have been the first movie again, but it wasn't. It did its own thing, and while it faltered with the villain, at least it has new jokes, new scenarios, and you have a kick-ass lead woman who I am in love with now. Evangeline Lilly, you are absolutely gorgeous in this movie. Keep acting. I'm surprised that this woman hasn't been in like 100 movies. She should be in more movies than you know who. But anyway, that scene where she's fighting Walter Goggins and his men, she's badass. She's doing flips. She's flying. She's shrinking. She's going bigger and punching them in the face. She's totally awesome. There's a scene where you saw in the trailer where she's throwing the salt shaker and makes it bigger. That's badass. That's awesome. I've never seen that in other Marvel movies. At least the villain is still alive, so that's good news. Yeah, but I didn't care about it. When the Vulture didn't die in Spider-Man: Homecoming, it's to set up the Sinister Six. With this shitty villain, I don't want to see her in Avengers 4. I don't want to see her in Captain Marvel. I don't want to see her in a prequel to Ant-Man or anything else. She's invisible to me. Yep, I agree that the Wasp is awesome. Yeah. Evangeline Lilly is so sexy without the suit and with the suit. And every time she's on screen, I'm like, you are beautiful. I love your eyes. There's a scene that I shit you not that I was kind of getting aroused. I know this is weird, but hey, it's YouTube. I'm gonna say everything in the raw. There's a scene where Michael Pena is talking about how Scott and Hope were like so into each other, and he's like kissing her neck, and she's biting his neck, and he's like all over her, grabbing her ass. I'm like, wow, I did not expect that for a Marvel movie. Yeah, that's a spoiler. There's a plot point where remember the first movie where Michael Pena was talking to all these people that knew a story about a guy, like he's dubbing their voices. That's in this movie too, but it's only once in the middle of the film. And yeah, it's a pretty hot scene. I'm like, it's not a sex scene, but it was pretty close. And I was really surprised by that. But anyway, yeah, it says Lang is soon able to help him and Hope escape custody. Yeah, that's the stupid scene. One of the few skippable scenes with Hannah Kamen where she explains her backstory. Get this. It's the same freaking thing we saw in Black Panther. She was a little girl and her father died in front of her and she got exposed to some explosion. Again, I've seen that already. I didn't care about her backstory that she was some little British girl with long curly hair. I didn't give a shit about her. I'm sorry, the actress looks nothing like the little girl. And Lawrence Fishburne is a flashback where he's like, "I can help you," and I'm like, I didn't give a shit about that when she was a little girl, and I didn't give a shit at the end where they're hugging, and I'm like, I don't buy this. Move on, please. Every time she's on screen, it's like she's making the movie go slower, and it bothered me so much. And the thing is, she's not threatening. Like the scene when you first see her and she doesn't talk much, that's awesome. Because she's like, where is she? It's just like vroom, 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 vroom. That's cool. But like I said, she takes a mask off, which is a big mistake, and she takes a nap. She's taking a nap. She's in a freaking this freaking like the thing like from Elysium. It's like not a container, but it's like a freaking facility, like a pod where she's sleeping, and instead of regrowing her arm or whatever, she's just resting there. And I'm like, why are you taking a nap? Again, well, she was dying. I don't care if she was dying. I didn't give a shit about this character. This actress is dead. This is her face the whole movie. Fix me. You got to fix me. Oh, Lawrence Foster, you got to fix me. That's her freaking performance for the whole movie. Nothing riveting. Her face is deadpan. If that's how she is in Game of Thrones, then fuck Game of Thrones. I don't need to see her or Amelia Clark or Sophie Turner or freaking what's her face, Gwendolyn Christie's bare ass. If I don't care about you, I don't want you in my movie. Fuck off, please. It's not just the accent; it's just her face. It's so dead. Everybody else is giving a performance. Michael Douglas is old, but he can still act. Michelle Pfeiffer, when they first see her, she's glowing and she has white hair and a ponytail. And the scene where her and Hope hug, it's more emotional than anything I got with the ghost. I felt more freaking emotion for Casper, the friendly ghost, in all three of his movies than this piece of shit villain, Storm Shadow with freaking Vulture's mask. It's ridiculous. But anyway, there's a scene where the you know the these guys, this Indian dude has a needle and he sticks Michael Pena with it and he's like, "Is that true serum?" It's like, "It's not true serum." And that joke goes on and on. But I love Ti and the Russian guy. They just crack me up because they always, like, I heard there's truth serum, and I'm like, I love those two guys. They crack me up in the movie. There's a scene where there's a chase scene that reminded me of Deadpool 2, where they're trying to look. They shrink the lab, and it's like a briefcase, and they're trying to chase Ant-Man is trying to chase him, and then he takes the car and he's like skating with his right foot. That was really funny when he was doing that, and he was trying not to get people hurt because he's huge, and his most of the movie, his shrinker that makes him small and makes him big, it malfunctions because he needs a part to replace it. And that scene, the chase scene, was a lot of laughs, a lot of great comedic moments. The scene where Michael Pena and Hope, they shrink and there's debris and it's like, we're gonna die, we're gonna die, we're gonna die. Oh god, this movie made me laugh a lot, man. This and Deadpool 2 were just what the doctor ordered. Two Marvel sequels that were funny and made money. I can't complain too much. Well, technically speaking, the Ghost was more of an Iron Man villain. Yeah, a shitty Iron Man villain. Remember Guy Pearce in Iron Man 3? He was that annoying and he didn't even have a shitty accent in that. But Hope was worse. I mean, a freaking Ghost was worse than that guy. And uh not Ben Kingsley Mandarin. I'm not going to blame him for that. He was trying. And freaking Rebecca Hall, who was supposed to be the villain in Iron Man 3. But they scrapped that and said, no, Guy Pearce with freaking fire breath like he's a freaking dragon. The hell was that, Shane Black? Fuck you for that, idiots. And then with this character, what is her powers? Um, Besides disappearing and reappearing. Again, I've seen that, guys. Hell, Harry Potter did that with a freaking invisible cloak. But anyway, the two post-credit scenes, I'm going to say this. I'm not going to spoil both of them. One of them I'm going to post on YouTube. The other I'm not. I'll save you the second one. The second one basically is the giant ant from the first movie. Remember that? That was crawling at the end of the movie when Yellow Jacket and Ant-Man are fighting in the little girl's room. It's playing the drums. That's it. There's not much to it. It's just that. That's the post-credit scene at the end. The first post credit scene is really good, but I want to say it as fast as I can. My friend Sean, I'm going to mention him here. He said that, oh, I bet somebody's going to disappear. It happens in the post credit scene. I'm not going to say who, but there's a scene where Ant Man is in the quantum realm and they open the gate for the portal for him. He goes in. That's why he's not going to be in Avengers 4, at least not fighting. And basically, Thanos' magic, snap your fingers, disappearing act, it worked. And the audience was like, oh my God, did they die? I'm like, no, they disintegrated. They'll be back because Hope is supposed to be in the next Avengers movie. But there's that. And then there's also the scene where there was another scene. I know there was another scene. Let's see. Pym reluctantly visits his estranged former partner, Bill Foster. That's Lawrence Fishburne. I think he does more here than in Man of Steel. Sorry, Sean. I don't buy him in that movie. It was just so depressing. At least this movie made me laugh. There's a reason this gets a higher rating on IMDb because it's funny. It's not a lifeless corpse. It's not that. It's not. It's not that. I don't want to see pain. If pain could be in increments, it doesn't have to be the whole freaking movie. And the flashbacks here are way shorter, and they're not out of nowhere. Yeah, he visits his old friend, and he's like, "I hate Hank Pym. I haven't worked with him in like 30 years," and they have a good rapport. Um, freaking Michael Douglas and Lawrence Fishburne. They're old actors, but they can still get it. Yep, Goliath. Yeah, they talk about that in the movie, and it's interesting. It's a conversation between two grown men that's interesting to watch. Everything with Ava you could have cut out, or just I don't know. I don't know if Ghost was a male in the comics, but yeah, you could have cut her out because she's not threatening. If Lawrence Fishburne was the villain and the Ghost, I would buy it more because he's a really good actor, but anyway, yeah, opening a stable version of the tunnel this time, Pym and Hope are able to contact Janet, who gives them a precision location to find her. Yeah, that's the scene that they stole in the Last Jedi, where Kylo Ren and this girl have a freaking psychic connection for no freaking reason. It's never explained. Here, it's explained. They have a link with each other in the mind. Janet Van Dyke and Scott Lang. It's interesting. They show a flashback where Hope was playing hide and seek and hiding in the wardrobe, and yeah, and he's like, it was like a big closet or something. You mean a wardrobe? It's like, I don't know what it is. I've never seen one of those. Yeah, it's just there's a lot of jokes that they just knock me out. They hit a bullseye. There's also a scene that they have to go into a school to find the little trophy that it says the world's greatest grandma. That was really dumb. That was a dumb, thing on written out there, but it has such meaning behind it that it made me smile. And it's a little trophy that has a little costume from the Civil War, which he talks to Hope about. That, yeah, he was actually in Germany. He met Captain America. He gave him his shield back, and then he turned giant, and then he got drained, and he was captured and put in Germany. And Michelle Pfeiffer as Janet Dying. Yeah, I said Van Dyke. My bad. AK, the original Wasp. Are you happy about that? Yes. I have been waiting to see Michelle Pfeiffer in the theater since Batman Returns. She's still beautiful. She can still act. And unlike poor Carrie Fisher, she had, emotion on her face. The scene where she sees Hope grown up and they cry, it's emotional. I wanted to cry. I'm like, my God, this movie has so much heart. It has so much heart. It's like, I missed you. I missed you so much. And I buy it. With Ava, it's like it comes out of nowhere. And I'm like, I'm sick of that girl. Just sick of it. So basically, yeah, you have that scene, the scene in the school that they're trying to look for the costume, and Ant-Man has to wear like a blue hoodie in the lost and found, and he looks like a little boy. And then one of the teachers or whatever is like, "Do you have a hall pass?" And he's running with his hoodie. It reminded me of the scene in Deadpool 2 when he turns into like a baby, like his legs are like a baby, and he's small. It's hilarious. Like it reminded me of that. And Marvel, like I said, nobody does it better. Um, Also, it says here, Lang is also able to help Pym and Hope escape custody. Yeah, they will find the lab. Lang and Hope distract Ava while Pym enters the quantum realm to retrieve Janet. Yeah, that's a good scene that he's under the quantum realm and he's basically searching for her. And their reunion is special. It's really good effects. And when you see her, she's glowing and they hug. It's really, really emotional. And yeah, what else happened in the movie? I don't want to say everything because I want to save it for the next podcast. Oh yeah, Walton Goggins. He steals later after the chase scene. He steals the lab and he goes on a boat and he's like, "How did he even get a ticket?" And then Giant Man, fuck you, Pacific Rim Uprising. I know Tevye can vouch for me. This is how you do it. This is how you freaking do it. You have Scott goes into the water and he's about to drown. He turns huge and he comes out of the water like he's a freaking Godzilla monster. That was freaking awesome seeing that in the theater. That I lived to see that. Where he's like, "It's okay, everybody. I just want to get this guy's he has something that I want." And he's trying to grab him. He like flicks him and knocks him on the ground. That was a great scene. I love that. That kicks the crap out of the Pacific Rim sequel because this is a sequel and it has a giant robotic guy, a guy in a huge suit, and then he gets tired and he falls, and then of course, who has to save him? A beautiful woman named Hope, and yeah, she's awesome with or without the mask. It's not the mask that defines her; it's her humanity and her personality and the things that she can do. The scene with the Hello Kitty Pez dispenser, that was cute. That was in the trailer. That she shoots it and it turns big and it knocks him out. Yeah, the chase scene was a lot of fun. People say, "Oh, there's too much CGI." It's a Marvel movie that knows how to use its budget well. At least when they use CG to de-age the actors, it doesn't look fake like in Rogue One where it looks like shit. Here, it looks really well done. And also, yeah, let's see, Hope arranges to buy apart from Sonny Birch. That's the name of Walter Goggins' character. Yeah, he's just there to be laughs. And there's a scene at the end where the Russian guy and Ti they give him the truth serum, and they say the whole plan is like, yeah, we stole the lab from these people. We're selling weapons of mass destruction or whatever. Yeah, you could take us to jail. That was a funny scene, man. Just and it's like, and the Indian dude is like, so there is truth serum. Oh my god, this movie just had laughs a minute. Everything without Ava is just hilarious. And there's also scenes where the phone rings, and one of them is a cutesy ringtone where the daughter's trying to call Scott, and he's like, "I'm sick, honey. What does he call her? Peanut." And there's not Skyping, but they're doing like what was it, FaceTime, and he's like, "I'm really sick, and I'll be back home soon." And yeah, and he's like, "Get better, daddy." And yeah, I love that little girl is amazing. The little girl really does a good job. What was her name? The girl that plays what was her name? Hold on. I don't want to say it wrong. Cassie, yeah, she's really really cute and a good actress as well. And yeah, I like the fact that that when Scott is talking about Captain America, he says Cap, short for Captain America. We actually talked to each other. We were cool. I love the scene. I remember that scene when I saw in the theater in Civil War when he was shaking Captain America's hand. That was a nod to the fans. It's like, I'm shaking your hand too long. I'm like, "Oh, you're awesome," and I'm like, that was my fan reaction. I was like, awesome. He gets along with a lot of the Avengers, and he's not the butt of everybody's jokes. And even though he's small, he does a lot with his power. Fun fact: Cassie Lang becomes Stature years later. Who's Stature? I have no idea who that is. Um, I This makes me want to read the Ant-Man comics. He's a character I was never interested until I saw the first movie and the Ultimate Avengers cartoon movie that came out years ago. I'm happy that Cassie is going to be an Avengers Force. She's going to be Stature. Yeah, she's a cute little girl. She's a founding member of Young Avengers. Awesome. Yeah, here it is. It says, yeah, Lang secretly helps Captain America during a skirmish between the Avengers and the violation of the Sokovia Accords, which is basically, they weren't supposed to fight there. And Lang is placed under house arrest. Yeah, that's where he meets Mr. Wu, played by Randall Park. He's like, you have 3 days, and then you won't be in house arrest, and you have 3 years of probation. So we'll be watching you. And they do throughout the entire movie. There's a scene he's in the shower, and he's like, "Hey guys, I was really sick." And then there was a scene with the ant, in the bathtub. That was funny. There's a scene where which I'm called Lang at the end of the movie. He's playing the drums and wearing headphones. I'm like, it reminded me of an iCarly bit. It was really funny, and yeah, it's just the jokes. I don't even remember all the jokes, but a lot of them were a lot of laughs, man. And yeah, did the film have the best post credit scene? No, but I kind of knew it was going to happen. And it says Ant-Man and Wasp will return? Question mark. We know that one of them is going to return for sure. And yeah, let's see what we got here also. Lang returns home once again in a time for a now suspicious Wu to release him at the end of his house arrest. Ava and Foster go into hiding, of course, because you're a shitty villain. We don't want to see you again. And Foster, Lawrence Fishburne deserves better than this. He's good in the movie, but he could have done more. Pym, Lang, Hope, and Janet plan to harvest energy from the quantum realm to continue helping Ava. Yeah, help her to be a better actress because she can't act for shit. Um, yeah, Despite having only 2 days left of house arrest, Lang decides to call Pym. Yeah, he calls him on one of those flipper phones that they used in Avengers Infinity War. That was a nice nod. And this movie is never dreary. There's never a moment where I was like, oh my God, will the scene just end because it's depressing the shit out of me? No. The only scenes that upset me were with that freaking bitch that is like, you got to fix me. That was her performance for the whole freaking movie, and it just took me out of it. It felt like I was watching something else. And I'm like, if I'm there to laugh, it's like the shitty villain in Deadpool. What's my name? Go fuck yourself, is what your name is. Francis. Stupid villain. That's why, Joshua, you can vouch for me. When you see this video, I'm going to share it on YouTube and Facebook. That people like that shouldn't be lead villains because they suck. Thanos was played by Josh Brolin. The guy can act, and there's no way that this villain was ever going to meet that that standard. But anyway, yeah. There was another scene I'm trying to remember that they did. Yeah, there was this one. Yeah, Birch has realized the potential profit that can be earned from Pym and hopes research and double crosses them. Yeah, of course, because I'm like Walton Goggins usually plays an asshole. He was an asshole in Django Unchained, and I think he was like a rapist or whatever in what was it, Predators. Yeah, I didn't like him. Ask Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin played Cable. Yeah, bro, this has been his year, man. Avengers 3, freaking Deadpool 2, and Sicario, Day of the Soldado. He's freaking cleaned house. And he can play a villain with freaking gravitas, with some understanding and no shitty accent and has expression. And I know that's the CGI face, but there's a voice behind that face. I talk like this. It's very menacing. And I want the Infinity Gem. See, that's a cool voice. I still need to see Sicario. Yeah, the second one. You mean the first one? I want to just see it for the director that made it, Denis Villeneuve, because he has great eye for detail. The second one is more of an action movie than a crime drama. But yeah, basically, I think that's everything I can do. Well, it's 25 minutes in, so yep, the first one was really good. Yeah, I've heard that the only person I don't want to see is Emily Blunt. She's not in the sequel, thankfully. So yeah, yeah, her father Elias. Yeah, that's Ava Star. That sounds like a freaking like uh Powerpuff Girl character, or I don't know, Sailor Moon or something. Another former partner of Pim's accidentally killed himself. Yeah, accidentally. It's a freaking experiment. I saw the same thing happen in Watchmen, where Dr. Manhattan, gets exposed to that radiation and he becomes Dr. Manhattan. That was done better. It was emotional. I felt it. Yeah, her father was Ant-Man's villain called Egghead. That's a stupid villain. That's also a villain from Batman, the '60s show. He killed himself and his wife during a quantum experiment that caused Ava's unstable state. Foster reveals that he has been helping Ava, who planned to cure her using Janet's quantum energy. Believing that this will kill Janet, Pym refuses to help him, and the trio manage to escape. Yeah, and that scene, thankfully, they put comedy in it to smooth out the details. Because if they did not put any laughs in that scene, I would have been like, no, fuck this, I'm going to go to take a piss. Because Ava just took me out of it. Yeah, this is another one. Birch learns their location from Lang's business partners, Luis, Dave, and Kurt. Yeah, that's the Russian guy, the black guy, and Michael Pena's character. An informal contact of the FBI. Lewis warns Lang, who rushes home before Wu can catch him before breaking out his house arrest. This leaves Pim and Hope to be arrested and for their lab to be taken by Ava. Also, she was made as a weapon. Yeah, kind of like they did with other movies. I've seen that. I mean, didn't Scarlet Witch was they said that she was a weapon of mass destruction in Civil War, even though she's just a girl with amazing powers. But at least her, Elizabeth Olsen, accent or not, has emotion on her face and gives a stunning performance in all the movies that she's been in so far of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Um, yeah, I mean, basically that those are most of the spoilers. I don't want to say everything in the movie because you have to see the movie for yourself to see the jokes. The cast is really good, except for freaking Hannah. I swear she should have been invisible the whole movie because I did not care about her at all. Yeah, Stanley's cameo was a lot of fun, where he's trying to open his car door and it shrinks, and he says a really cool line. He always gets applause every time we see him because we love that guy. Also, she was made as a weapon by Hydra. Yeah, the same freaking organization or what have you that was after Captain America. And I'm glad that Peyton Reed, this was his movie. It wasn't studio interfered. I don't need an extended cut because I got a lot of laughs. I don't want scenes cut out of the movie. And I will say I enjoyed it more than Justice League. I liked Justice League, but it needed more of this. Not too much comedy. Just don't take yourself so damn seriously. And even though I will say this, Steppenwolf was a shitty villain, but he looked cool, and his voice wasn't so bad. This villain is in too much of the middle of the movie and drags the movie down for me. And yeah, but and anyway, Peyton Reed's a good director. He did a good job with the first one. He took over for Edgar Wright. He made the movie funny, and it wasn't another heist like in the first one. I appreciate that. Scott Lang is basically the anti-hero that gets arrested a lot. I mean, just like Deadpool, he gets arrested, like Deadpool did in the second movie. See, similarities. They share the same universe, even if though they're from different studios. They're from different freaking, that's Fox, and this is, Paramount and Disney, and of course Marvel Studios. But yeah, they connect. They have a connection. That's what Scott has. The scene where he's becomes, Janet. It's interesting. It's not gay. It's not fruity. It shows Paul Rudd's freaking acting range. He's like, "Hey, honey, it's good to see you." The scene where he's holding Penn's hand that made me laugh my ass off. I was like, "Oh my god." These guys, they're very brave for doing a scene like that and not make it, be completely gay. And also the scene where he's touching Hope's face. I'm like, again, it's humanity. I feel that. I'm like, these are fictional characters, yet I feel for them. When someone died in a Marvel movie, I feel it most of the time. Here, when they're reunited as a family, it works. It's just like in Avengers in not Avengers 2, in Guardians 2, when Peter sees his dad and he's like, "Oh my god, I haven't seen you in years." And he's shocked to see him. See, even though he's a villain, you still feel for him. He's a villain that actually works because he gets in your head. And the scene where he said, "Oh, it sucks that I had to put that cancer in your mom's head," I was like, "What?" See, a twist that nobody saw coming, unless you read the comics or whatever. But even then, yeah, it works. These movies work because Marvel puts their all into it. Kevin Feige produces the shit out of these movies, and they are fun to watch. None of them have gotten a rotten for a reason, because they're fun and they entertain me and they make me laugh, and the actors are trying. They're not zombies. I hope that in Avengers 4, Steve gets the shield back and he and Tony unite again. And I hope that we go to the government and tell them to leave them alone and shut down the Accords. What do you think? Yeah, I agree with that. And also, I want to see this movie. Could be 3 hours and I won't care, because you're going to have so many characters, and Captain Marvel is going to be the glue that holds that movie together. Her and Hope kicking Thanos' ass, that already sounds like a freaking fan come true. It's a gift for the fans who hated Rogue One and Episode 8 and Episode 7 and freaking Brolo, where they had, oh yeah, the women have to be on top of the food chain and the men have to be treated like shit. That doesn't happen in Marvel. It will never happen with Marvel, because they've given us 20 movies and they have their flaws, but freaking recycling stuff from other movies is not one of them. And having, lackluster freaking CGI is not one of them either. It looks a lot better. It just does. The de-aging the actors thing works. I don't even notice it. And yeah, the film, like I said, it looks like an actual movie. The scenes that are heartfelt work. The scene where Scott's like, "I want to have a partner." She's like, Cassie tells him, "You should have a partner," and he's like, "Yeah, I do want to have a partner." And she's like, "Why don't I be your partner?" I'm like, "Because I have someone else in mind." And she's like, "Who?" And he's like, "Hope." And she's like, "Oh, yeah." And of course, at the end, she says, "Oh, by the way, I wanted to be his partner, but he wanted you." And I'm like, everybody wants Evangeline Lilly that saw this movie. My friends can vouch for me, Josh and Parker and all these other guys that have taste. They will vouch for me and say that Evangeline Lilly is absolutely wonderful. She really has like a motherly figure that would be perfect in the next movie. And even though she's not a mother, she could be like one. I agree. Yeah, Evangeline Lilly won my heart in this movie. It's not just Ant-Man, it's Ant-Man and the Wasp. And there's a lot of scenes where they talk to each other, they interact with each other, they have arguments, but it's not like bitching and moaning. It works better than freaking in Suicide Squad, where half of these people are forced together and it doesn't work, except for Will Smith. But here, this is way better. They had a shitty villain too that was doing this. What the hell was that? If Ava did that, I would have laughed my ass off too. Yep, they are the dynamic duo. Exactly. And the rapport worked. And when they kiss at the end, it was sweet. People were like, "Ah, see," because they feel for the characters. It's not a forced romance like Twilight or freaking in The Last Failure, where freaking Finn and this girl are kissing. I'm like, it comes out of nowhere and it's weird, and it's not romantic. It's just forced. And here it works, like in almost every single aspect. You got two adult actors that have good chemistry with each other when they have the suits and when they don't have the suits. And like I said, they have a bond. That's what this movie has, a bond. And it doesn't piss off the fans of the first movie. Yes, it's the first movie better. We got to know the character. We got to see Anthony. In this movie, he names almost every ant. He's like Antonio Banderas. And yeah, that was pretty funny. And yeah, and I just love the scene with the seagulls. That was a spoiler also, when he's trying to fly and the ants are getting eaten up by seagulls. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, you got to be kidding me." That was a cool scene too. It reminded me of the scene in Finding Nemo with the seagulls that go, "Mine, mine, 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 mine." That was like that. And yeah, I wish I could remember everything off the top of my head. I want to see the movie again, because yeah. And the thing is, it had returning cast members come back, and they had things to do. Michael Douglas was not just in behind the scenes, sitting in a chair or staring like this, like poor Mark Hamill in the Force Awakens. That just pissed me off. But anyway, yeah, the Project Goliath. Let me read what that's about. Let me see here. Oh, it's an Ant-Man comic. It's an Avengers comic. The debut in his first Goliath costume was in May 1966, issue number 828. Oh, by the way, rest in peace of Steve Ditko, the guy that created Spider-Man. We will see him again in Spider-Man: Far From Home. So that's another movie I'm pulling for. Let's see. Clint Barton is in that storyline. Bill Foster, Eric Jostin, Tom Foster. Yeah, but yeah, this movie was awesome. Like the future of Ant-Man, it made over 76 million dollars. It's killing at the box office. It's already made its budget back worldwide. It's going to make a ton of money next week as well. I'm glad that the film, yeah, that was depressing to hear that the news of Steve Ditko. Yeah, like I said, rest in peace, sir. And yeah, it's a character that should not have worked. A guy that can shrink it to the size of an ant, that should have been the stupidest premise ever. But Marvel made it work because you like Paul Rudd, you like freaking, Evangeline Lilly. She's adorable in the first movie and in the sequel. They give her more to do, and their chemistry is just off the charts. And look what it says here. This was the consensus on Rotten Tomatoes, even though some of their opinions make no sense, like with the new Star Wars. But here it says a lighter, brighter superhero movie powered by the effortless charisma of Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly. Thank you, Rotten Tomatoes. I agree with you on that. Those two really have to. They really keep this movie together. They keep it coherent and they keep it fun and they know what they're in. They're not trying to do Shakespeare. Ant-Man and the Wasp offers a much-needed MCU palette cleanser. Yeah, because the last movie was so dark and depressing. I needed something to boost me up. I needed laughs from Deadpool 2 in this movie, and it worked. It didn't feel forced. And like I said, the movie, it's not going to please everybody. If you're looking for the sequel to be Avengers 2 or Avengers 3 or Guardians 2 or Winter Soldier or Civil War, you're not going to get that because the villain sucks here, just like in Civil War. But that villain at least was not didn't have a shitty accent like this here, and he was boring, but at least he gets his. At least he's in prison at the end. Here, Ava's like, oh yeah, we're gonna cure you and you're fine, because there's a scene where Janet touches her head and she makes her whole again. And I'm like, so they had to do that. She didn't have to sleep in a chamber or Thor Ragnarok. Yeah, exactly. I was expecting a fun time. And did I laugh? Hell yeah, I did. A lot. There were some jokes that I was almost choking on my popcorn because it was so funny. Because Paul Rudd's so charming in the movie. I can't believe this is the same actor. His first movie was Halloween 6. Both cuts of it, the producer's cut and the theatrical cut. He went from that shitty sequel, which was never needed, to one of the best Marvel movies of one of the best Marvel sequels of like the last 2 years. That wasn't with Captain America, Iron Man, or Thor. I will say it. It's really well done. I will say this is better than Thor: The Dark World. It's better than Iron Man 2. It's better than Iron Man 3. It didn't piss me off as much because I had way too many Brits. And I was like, yeah, 3, you only needed 1. Ben Kingsley. That's it. Here, it's 1, but it's a zombie. It's basically a zombie talking like this. Oh, please fix me. I got crooked teeth. Can you fix it? Yeah, that's her freaking performance. And it's irritating. If anyone says that's Oscar worthy, I'm sorry, it's not. That's not the Joker from the Dark Knight. Hell no. That's a riveting performance compared to this. But anyway, yeah. There was some filler subplots. Like I said, anything with Bobby Cannavale just popping up hugging. I'm like, yeah, he's fine in the movie, but he didn't really need to have anything to do, like in the first film. Uh Not enough for Michelle Pfeiffer. I agree with that. She should have been in the movie more than freaking Ava because she was more interesting, and her rapport with the family was well done. And hopefully, she'll do another film. Also, I noticed that this is the second Marvel movie with Lawrence Fishburne because his first one was as the Silver Surfer's voice in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. Granted, he has more to do here, but he's a villain. He's like a side villain, and he's like, Ava, no, I'm not gonna kidnap a little girl just for you to get well. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And she's like, why not? And I'm like, because it's wrong. Kidnapping is wrong, and you'll have blood on your hands, and Ant Man's gonna come after you. And there's a scene where Ant Man turns giant in the car chase scene. He punches her mask right in the face. I'm like, fuck you, Ava. Go fuck yourself. He goes, blah, and I was like, yeah, punch the Brit right in the face. That's what Daisy really deserved in The Force Awakens and in Rogue One and in Episode 8 and in Episode 9, hopefully. I don't want to see her and Kylo Ren having sex. I want to see pure, 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 right in the face, right in Kelly's face, pure, Pruh, pruh, and making her bleed. Something that human beings do. But anyway, yeah, I'm just glad that Ghost gets her ass kicked a lot of the time. She gets thrown around like a freaking rag doll. Wasp kicks her ass a lot of the time with her freaking shooters, and he's like, "You gave her wings and blasters." I'm like, "Yeah, that was awesome." They didn't make her a copy of Ant-Man. They made her own character, and her costume. They said, "Oh, it looks like a balls and penis." I'm like, it didn't bother me. It doesn't bother me because, like I said, Ant-Man, Wasp is everything that I wanted her to be. I loved her in the animated series of Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and I saw her in the Marvel Universe Live a few months ago, and she was badass there. And she's a nice foil for Ant-Man because she's beautiful and she's resourceful and she's badass and she's quick on her feet and she's not a damsel in distress either, and she's not an SJW. She fights with every single fiber of her being. And just Evangeline Lilly really brings the character to life. And a Canadian woman that can act with beautiful green eyes and dark hair, and a face that's majestic. Yeah, I will say it. She's at least in my top 5 favorite actresses in the MCU. You got Scarlett Johansson, Natalie Portman, freaking Elizabeth Olsen, her, and probably who was the other one? Not Zendaya. I like Zendaya, but she should have been in more. Probably who else? Maybe the girl that played Agent 13 in Winter Soldier. I like her face too. But yeah, she's gonna really do. And of course, Brie Larson's gonna be next. She's gonna kick ass in Captain Marvel. And yes, I know there's Brits in that too. But for that movie, I'm seeing it for Brie Larson because I know she's gonna be freaking awesome. And we all know that she's gonna appear and save the Avengers from this disintegration or whatever happened to them. But anyway, yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp, those are the spoilers for the most part. I'm just reading some other stuff that happened here. And yeah, let's see. Ava's father, Elias Starr, Ryan Steele played his wife, Catherine, who, yeah, you don't see them. It's a fat white guy and a black lady that just disappear. That's it. Well, I'm going to bed, so good night, Tev. Yeah, good night, man. But yeah, this movie, it lived up to the hype of the first movie. I laughed. I almost cried. I felt something at the end. And the post credit scene, the first one's good. The second one, you could just leave after the post credit because yeah, yeah. This is director's Peyton Reed's. He said on the Wasp inclusion in the film. It's such a no-brainer that there needs to be female heroes. In the 60s comics, Janet Van Dyne Wasp was clearly written by all men and was pretty one-dimensional. She's got more dimensional since then, and agree. That's one of those things I think is going to be really exciting and fresh about this movie. Yeah, it was exciting and fresh because you got a beautiful woman that has it going on that's close to my age that's kicking ass and doesn't have superpowers coming out of her ass. She has a suit that makes her do these things, but she also has her, chutzpah. And she has her freaking fighting abilities from the first movie, so it's not wasted. And the costume looks great. The helmet looks great. When she does this, it's awesome. And the movie works very well because of her. She's really the catalyst that made this movie work in the first place. But anyway, guys, that's my live commentary, my live spoiler podcast of Ant-Man and the Wasp. Things that I didn't mention in my review. I'm also going to post another video that's got the post-credit scene, but it's only auditory, so there's no footage. I'm not using footage and getting a copyright claim. But yeah, that's all I can remember. If I talk about more about the movie, yeah, fuck Ava in the ass. I could give a rat's ass about her. More Michelle Pfeiffer would have been nice. And yeah, and the second post credit scene, I would have rather seen Captain Marvel make an appearance instead of the ant playing the drums. It's just kind of weird. But anyway, that's all for now, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you share this with your friends. This is a live stream I wanted to do with my friends, but since they didn't show up, I was like, well, a couple of them in the chat. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and thanks for the thumbs up and the views. And I will see you guys later. I'll be reviewing more TV movies, and hopefully, I'll do another spoiler podcast with my friends, and maybe we can do a live commentary on one of the other Marvel movies that we haven't, like Guardians 2 or uh, Avengers 3 when that comes out, or uh, some other films, even Deadpool 2 that hasn't come out yet. But yeah, This movie was awesome. I love it. It's in my top 5 of the year. It's gonna tie with Deadpool 2 as one of the best sequels I've seen this year. It delivered. It did not let me down. Kick-ass cast, a female lead that actually works as your lead, badass female heroine, and a lot of good dialogue and a lot of heartfelt moments and an ending that's pretty it's interesting leading up to next year. So good job, Marvel. Your MCU movies this year were freaking awesome. Flawed as they were, Avengers 3 had a bad ending. Deadpool 2 had a kind of a lackluster fat kid that was kind of annoying. And this movie and Black Panther, which I wanted more Andy Serkis in, but hey, what we got this year, we got a smorgasbord of awesome freaking Marvel moments that I'll remember forever. So, cheers, Marvel. Nobody does it better than you. Hopefully, DC will learn from their mistakes. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next live stream. Hopefully, see ya. Mhm.